this period of time where people are taking advantage of getting free money, unfortunately, that is going to be the future.
That's right.
Yeah. A lot of people think that's where we're headed 10, 20 years from now anyway. A massive, complete, what's the word? An apocalypse of jobs because everything's becoming automated. Yeah. If I can set this machine up, I don't have to deal with the bull crap of this person, their personality, not showing up late. I can count on this robot to do this work.
Right. Yeah.
So if that's what's going to be, because people are seeing an opportunity right now for that exact thing.
Yeah. It's right? Accelerator right now.
We as human beings, we're great at solving problems. And if the problem is people not wanting to show up, well, I'm going to make a robot that is going to show up.
That's right.
Have you guys, do y'all ever watch You on Netflix?
No.
You ever heard of
it? No.
Tyler, have you ever heard of You? YOU? Y'all never heard of this show?
Dude, you just asked us 3 times. No, we have not.
Oh, You.
No.
You've never seen the show. I'm gonna ask it one more time.
God bless it.
If it's not named, if it's not called Ted Lasso, I don't watch it.
All right. Well, when I describe it, it's not gonna entice you to want to watch it anymore because it's that crazy. So this is the 3rd season. Uh-huh. It's the show about this guy who gets obsessed. So he's raised, crazy childhood growing up, and in the 1st season he gets obsessed with this girl, like so obsessed that he like ends up taking her underwear from her house. He ends up killing anybody that gets close to her, and like you're seeing everything through his perspective. Mm-hmm. And this I know this is going to sound really odd, but he's a likable guy. He really is. It's really weird how they did it, how they wrote this character.
So you have a stalker.
He's a stalker. He's an extreme stalker. Like
extreme, not just stalker.
To the point
extreme.
of like killing people because he wants to get with this girl. And then at the end of season 1, he ends up killing this girl. So then we go into season 2.
How is there a show after this?
And he ends up meeting a new girl. Ugh. And they end up killing people together because they're both really super weird. Y'all have never seen this. It's
no.
And now we're in season 3, and yeah, it's madness. It's chaos.
How does it hold you? I mean, what is it that...
I don't know, because it's so
acting,
different.
Or is it...
Yeah, the acting's really good. The main character, I forget his name. He looks like... what's the guy's name? I don't remember. You would recognize him. I forget his name. But it's so unique. It's such a unique storyline, like nothing you've seen before.
So creepy, man.
And it's very creepy.
Yeah. I would love this show. I'm really big on like feel-good shows. You just go to sleep.
It's not a feel-good
show.
Feel good about
life. Yeah. I'm going to check it out, Ben.
It's not a feel-good show at all. And it's, like I said, on the surface, you're like, why am I into this? But it really is captivating. It's like 94, like it's one of the top shows on Netflix.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm intrigued.
I'm not intrigued.
And I'm not even doing it justice by the description, because the season 3 was like, or season 1 was like 4 years ago or 3 years ago.
So when did we start watching these type of shows? Like, what's the other guy's name who kills everybody? Dexter. Like
that was like a big show.
That was a huge show, right?
And when was Dexter a thing?
It's always been a thing.
God damn. Anyway,
you're looking at me like I have 3 heads.
Dexter's probably been around for 12 years.
Right? Y'all don't even know what you is.
Like a teeny bopper, like only teenagers and Ben watch this show. These like sophisticated like mystery shows like that adults normally watch. Ben's like, what is that?
No, y'all. That's y'all's homework.
So lollipop.
All right, You.
That's y'all's homework. Go check out You, but you're gonna have to start at season 1 to get it. And yeah, let me know what you think. Report back. Let me know.
Have y'all? Is there a movie or show that sticks out in your mind that had such an impact on you, one way or the other, good or bad, that you were like, dude, that like changed my like mental state. Like it was so influential to me, or like it impacted me so much that like I can remember it. And I know exactly I've
got an easy one.
Go ahead.
So I love scary movies. Used to love scary movies. And then in college, the movie Paranormal Activity came out. Uh-huh. Y'all remember the first Paranormal Activity? Did you watch the first?
No, I never.
It was like not great quality filming, right? It was like supposed to be like more.
Well, it was a homemade.
Yeah.
Oh, they're out in the woods. Is that the one where they're out?
That's Blair Witch.
That's Blair Witch.
Okay.
Paranormal Activity takes place at a house in California. It's literally, I think, 3 or 4 actors the entire movie, because it takes place inside a home the entire, and it was the first like legit Paranormal Activity type movie that I'd ever seen. I'm not kidding you. I went and watched it with a buddy of mine, and it was like a late night showing, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I sat in my bed looking at the ceiling for like 3 or 4 hours. So scared to go to sleep. That's what that movie did to me.
Man.
Now they've made 5 or 6 since, and none of them seem to.
You
for
watched
whatever
the
reason,
other ones?
I've seen like the second and third, but for whatever reason, that first one.
Got you.
Like I'm talking for months and years even after I'm doing the whole, you go into the room and you turn on the light first. You reach in, turn the light on, then
if the light switch isn't right by the door, you got to race the light out of the room.
That movie messed
Is
me
it like,
up
like one of
for
the
a while.
you probably
It's like supernatural
like
things that happen.
Poltergeist. Like I don't know if you remember Poltergeist.
No, it's not.
Oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah.
The scary thing is this demon possesses the person, so it's the person doing all this stuff. They don't have. I guess they do have supernatural powers, but it's not like fake, like monsters. It's it's a person possessed.
You know what?
There's one scene. It's crazy. She gets up out of her bed because everything happens at like 3:15 in the morning or something.
Right.
She gets up out of bed, walks to the other side, and just stands over her husband and just watches him for hours. Like it does a little time lapse thing, and it's just so so creepy, so creepy.
That is creepy. Yeah.
And it messed me up for years.
I don't know if I've had any movie. I think one of the movies. I think most of them are scary movies that I've thought about throughout the years. Like The Exorcist is one. Like when I was a kid.
I never saw
Holy
that.
cow.
First time I saw that messed with me because that's real scary.
Yeah, that's
okay. Like that's spiritual stuff now. Like that to me, it's like okay, that messes with me.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
That one got me. She came down those damn stairs, crawling down the stairs, bro.
I think I've seen that scene, but I've never seen the movie.
God, I still got the chills.
That's kind of like this movie. Like it jacked me up.
Yeah.
Tyler, what'd
So
you say
for
yours
me,
was?
so no doubt, I get an easy answer. Is Requiem for a Dream. So it's Jared Leto, and it's a drug movie, but it's like kind of creepy, artsy. But it follows like a couple different stories, like an old lady that lives by herself that got onto diet pills, and these diet pills got her like hallucinating about being on this TV show. She was trying to like lose weight, which ended up being like Speed. And then I followed like Jared Leto and his girlfriend. She's another famous actor. I can't remember her name, but and they like were good, normal people, and then they got like found a stash of heroin and ended up getting addicted on it. But it was one of those movies that at the end of it, it was really well done, like really good acting. It was so dark that's like you. So the movie turned off, and it was I was watching with it my roommate in college, and literally I laid in the family room of our house in college, lights off for like an hour and a half because I'd never felt depression until that moment. Like I was just depressed. Like it just changed my whole demeanor. Yeah. And like, so I think back, I'm like, dang, like that was so well done that it impacted me that much. Like I was involved in it, and I just saw like the darkness that like is that drug world and like what it can do. And like, it was, that movie. If you're ever like, just like fiending to be depressed, go watch that movie.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
It was crazy.
I don't know how we went down this road.
You talked about your, by the way, based on Ben Gibbs.
The mind of a serial stalker / killer.
Did you know Abilene puts out more stalkers and serial killers than any other city in the United States?
Doubt it. I'm sure there's probably some truth behind that. Yeah. We need to run some demographics on Abilene.
Yeah.
I really like that purple robe you wear at night, Darren.
Do you?
Anyways, I'm going to transition after that point.
We got a big announcement to make. Tyler, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But before we get there.
Okay, now can I go?
We really do have a big announcement. But before we get there.
Yeah, excited about that too. More excited about this one. So opposite of depression, what are 2 activities that come to mind that would say opposite of depression?
Opposite of depression? Mm-hmm. 2 activities?
2 activities.
I would say spa treatments.
Swimming.
And swimming. Swimming and drinking.
Swim up bar, baby.
If you can't see right now, we're playing Pictionary.
Charades is what Charades. So opposite of depressing is swim up bars and spa treatments, right? Yeah. I mean, how can you walk out of a massage and not feel great? How can you swim up to a bar, order something out of a fruit with an umbrella in it? I mean, I know, Ben, that's not your jam, but makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But you know where you can get that?
Where?
Choctaw Casino and Resort, baby.
Dude, you could give me 10 guesses. I wouldn't have guessed that.
I'm telling you. You know why? Because you wouldn't think it, right? You think, okay, hey, we're going to go up to Oklahoma, a casino in Oklahoma. You walk in, it smells like smoke. It's just like that depressing Requiem for a Dream feel. Wrong. Opposite. Well lit, smells good, Vegas-style amenities. And here's the deal, is coming up these next couple months, your schedule is loaded. My schedule is loaded. I mean, Ben, you're way free for sure. But
I'll be up there every weekend.
but this is a time, okay, look, there's so much stress, whether with the holidays, with hosting people, with travel, trying to wrap up your year in business. This is a great opportunity to head up to Durant, Oklahoma, to Choctaw Casino and Resort. Go get some spa treatment. Go have a nice steak dinner, nice bottle of wine. Really, we had a little heat wave. We got a little cold front coming in here, but hey, go to the pool. Go see a show. As the weather gets colder, they've got movie theaters. They've got concerts. Choctaw Casino and Resort, it is a great place to go just to recharge from the craziness that is this holiday season. So look, I'm telling you, check it out. Head up 75, right across the river. You'll find it.
Awesome. Big announcement.
Here we go.
So, we are going to embark on a new schedule for you guys. Our new schedule will be as follows. So, typically the last year and 3/4 of a year, additional year, almost 2 years, we've done our interview episodes on Sundays and our roundtable episodes on Wednesdays. Starting next week, can you guys say next week?
Next week.
Darren, can you say next week?
Next week.
Starting next week, the week of November 7th, we're going to shift everything back a day. So interview episodes will now release on Mondays. Roundtable episodes will now release on Thursdays. So mark your calendars, adjust accordingly. It's just one day back. And the reason we're doing that is we want to be more up to date. We want to be more... The way we've typically done these is we'll typically record a roundtable episode and then it won't release for a week. And our thought is with this shifted schedule, we can be more on top of things. We can talk about hot topics. We can just be more up to date.
Current.
Yeah. More current with what we're talking about. So
like Ben's wardrobe.
That's exactly right.
When'd you get that, man? It was
yesterday.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
So anyway, so mark your if you're on a schedule, whatever.
So if I get in my car Monday morning going to work,
this
can you pull up the Monday show?
Yes, it'll be up first thing Monday morning, first day Thursday morning.
Great.
So on your drive
That's
to work
good news,
on Monday
man.
morning,
Yeah.
this is gonna because Sundays are tricky. You got family, you got things like that. Monday morning, you're in the car, you're headed to work. This is a great
the
time.
Football game on Sunday.
You got the football game on Sundays. Yeah, this is a good time to plug in to the Darren Woodson show. So, like I said, next week Monday's interview episodes, Thursdays will be the roundtables.
Right. Yep.
So, and then that leads us to Wellness Wednesday, number 3. So the first 2 weeks, our tip number 1 was understand your why. Last week we talked, or 2 weeks ago, we talked about now that you know your why, understand that this is going to take a little bit of time to achieve. If it's if you're approaching it the right way.
Yeah.
So now that leads us to a little bit more practical application, actual information that you can start applying to your wellness program so that you can be better. And if you were going to think about a pyramid, you got the base of your pyramid. That's the strongest
the
foundation of your pyramid, correct? And as you go up, things get smaller. So I would say of any wellness program, the first thing you need to check and the first thing you need to get a hold of is after your bicep curls is your sleep. Sleep is the most underrated aspect of any wellness program, in my opinion. And why is that? At least for me, from my perspective, sleep has been demonized somewhat. It's been seen traditionally as, sleep when you're dead. Yeah. I've got too much going on. I've got to, you got to be a grinder, right? So we think less sleep is conducive to more production,
right?
Yeah.
Or it's better for your goals. I don't have time to sleep. I got other things I got to be doing, and I think when you're thinking about your wellness and your health, prioritizing sleep is actually going to set you up better than the opposite of the opposite approach. You're actually going to be more productive if you prioritize sleep. So we're going to spend a couple of weeks talking about sleep, the benefits of sleep, why we sleep, all that good stuff. And today I wanted to give you guys 6 benefits to getting great sleep.
6 benefits.
6 benefits to getting great sleep.
Hey,
now, these are not I'm not a doctor. I'm just some moron.
Then where are you getting these? Where are you pulling these from then?
All
Ben?
sorts of different. See, I've actually put in some work to this show.
Okay.
Believe it
All
or
right.
not, some research.
All right. These are not yours.
No, I actually am going to end this with a couple of resources if you are interested in sleep and you want to learn more. People who actually know what they're talking about.
Right.
So these are just, I scoured the internet, pulled from a bunch of different sources. These are the most 6 reoccurring benefits of getting great sleep.
But I'll say this about Ben, though. If he's bringing these up, these are things that he's either tried or implemented into his program. And he's saying, hey, obviously not everybody's the same. Right. These are things that we, mostly Ben, have implemented.
Well, and let me be clear. Today is just the benefits that everybody's going to see these benefits.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to talk about how to get better sleep. And you're right.
Yeah.
It's going to be different for everybody. But today, why do we sleep? What are the benefits of sleep? If something's to be made important to you, you need to understand why it's important.
Right.
So number 1, sleep boosts your immunity.
Yeah.
It allows your immune system to be able to rest and fight off whatever comes its way. I can't think of a better time in our history, in our lives, that your immune system is more important.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we talked last week about vaccine mandates and all that good stuff. That's great. Get a vaccine if you choose to. But you need to be doing things that are going to boost your immune system, whether you have a vaccine or not. Yeah. Right? You need to be doing things that are going to take care of your body. So sleep improves and boosts your immunity. Y'all remember as a kid when you'd sit at home and you'd be watching Rainbow. What was it? Reading Rainbow. Remember that? And your mom would get you the chicken noodle soup when you were sick. And you just slept all the time, right? That's your body saying, hey, you need to rest. We need to recover. We need to repair. That's what sleep does for you. It improves immunity. Number 2, sleep helps prevent weight gain.
Oh. Wait a minute. I never knew
How
that
so?
one.
Yeah.
How so?
Yeah.
So when you don't get enough sleep, the body produces a hormone called ghrelin. Does anybody know what ghrelin is?
No, never heard of it.
So ghrelin is a hormone that actually boosts your appetite, makes you hungry. That's the hormone that releases that says, hey, I'm hungry, right? So lack of sleep.
I guess when you're sleeping.
Lack of sleep
Makes sense.
actually increases the release of that hormone. And it actually reduces leptin, which is another hormone that we have that actually suppresses and tells us that we're full. So when you're eating, leptin gets released, tells you that you're full. That's when you know when to stop. Sleep actually, or a lack of sleep actually throws that balance all off. So also another aspect of that is when you're tired. Think about your kids. Cooper just did this last night. He asked for candy about 50 billion times. And he wears us down because we're tired. It's the end of the day. We say no. He comes back and asks again. Finally, we're so tired. We say, yes, fine, whatever. Just take it. Right? So that's what sleep does. When you're tired, your willpower tends to suppress. You end up making, quote unquote, bad decisions. What's easier when you get home from work, when you're tired? Just grab a quick burger from Whataburger,
Dude, that is
or
so true.
sit there and make something.
Yeah,
So
fatigue will make you make cowards of us all. That's so true. Yeah.
So literally the hormone release affects your weight, but also just the lack of willpower and decision making. Benefit number 3, sleep can improve heart health. Did you know that, Darren?
Oh, I had no idea.
Man, so I'm just enlightening you.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
are, man.
If
You're
nobody
just
else learns
bringing it.
anything
You
today,
are bringing
you're going to
it
learn
today.
something today. So how does it do this? Sleep improves heart health by causing the release. So a lack of sleep can cause the release of cortisol. You ever heard of cortisol?
Yes.
The hormone cortisol. That's your stress hormone. So which elevates your blood pressure, elevates your heart rate. Obviously, we see how that can lead to heart issues. Benefit number 4, sleep increases productivity. I think this one's self-explanatory. We all know the feeling.
Yeah.
You wake up feeling groggy, your day's not as productive as whenever you wake up feeling ready to roll.
Think about when you stay up late, watching Netflix till 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And you wake up at 7:45 and you got to be on the road on the way to work by 8, whatever it is, right? Think about the stress that creates in your day because you're not rested. Just to start it off. And I'm not talking about like the actual functionality throughout the day and the lack of focus and all the things that come from, less sleep. But I just think of like when your body's fighting you to get more and then it just pushes into your day, like how much stress that causes.
Yeah, and it's tricky.
You're looking at it right now.
Yeah. And it's tricky because at least for me, even if I didn't get a good night's sleep, I'm still amped in the mornings. But what I find is after lunchtime, I am done. That 2:30 feeling hits, and productivity just tanks after that point. So maybe I'm still okay in the morning and I feel okay, but it hits me a lot quicker.
No, it hits me in the morning.
Coming in the afternoon.
I think
it does hit you in the morning.
as you get older, it'll hit you in the morning. Like if you don't get that sleep in,
all day fight.
Yeah, if you don't get that sleep in, it's gonna hit when you wake up. It's gonna be there, and then that monkey's gonna jump on your back about 2 o'clock, especially after you eat lunch.
Big old heavy meal. Yep. Sleep improves. Number 5, sleep improves the results of exercise. Did you know, Darren, that when you sleep, that's actually your repair period?
Yeah.
So people think going to the gym is how you get big and strong. No. It's the exact opposite, actually. When you go to the gym, you're actually breaking things down.
Right.
You're tearing you're tearing the muscles down. You're breaking things down. Sleep and recovery, that's when you're actually getting big and strong. So if you want your wellness to improve, you prioritize sleep, because that's actually when your natural human growth hormones are going to be released. Those are the repair and recovery. Your muscles are going to repair and recover, tendons, everything like that. Sleep is where you actually get your physical benefits from your exercise. And it's actually been shown, a lot of people report that they actually sleep better if they exercise that day.
Oh, yeah. 1,000,000%.
And we're going to talk a little bit next week about when to exercise for best results. But just know, exercising can actually help you improve your sleep. And then lastly, number 6, sleep improves your memory. So it plays an important role in the process called memory consolidation. So during sleep, your brain is busy processing your day, making connections between events, sensory input, feelings, and memories. This is especially the case during deep sleep. And deep sleep is the stage of sleep that is, they say, the most important stage of sleep. And that's hard to get to if you're obviously not sleeping very well. Yeah. So those are the 6 benefits of getting good sleep, why we sleep, why it's important to sleep. Tune in next week. Again, like I said today, that's the foundation to me. If somebody was just going to change one thing, I hate that scenario. But if you just had to change one thing, fix your sleep first. And next week we'll talk about 5 ways that you can actually improve your sleep.
Yeah.
I also said that we were going to give you resources. So a couple of the resources that I personally like to go to for all of my sleep questions and concerns, Dr. Michael Bruce, a.k.a. the Sleep Doctor. We actually had him on.
Guest.
I forget what episode it was. It's very early on. So if you're new-ish to the podcast, go back to last year.
We were in the small room.
Yeah, that was back when we were
family
upstairs. Yeah,
upstairs. Yep.
Freaking roughing it. But yeah, he's the Sleep Doctor, and you can find his information at thesleepdoctor.com. He's got tons of great free information on that website. Second one I like is Dr. Matthew Walker, and his website is sleepdiplomat.com. And that's his website. Again, tons of free stuff. He actually just started a podcast recently, like a month or 2 ago. And they're super short, 10 minutes max for all his, and he just gives tips on sleep why we sleep and perfect digestible content. So he's a great resource. And then lastly, this guy's not a sleep expert per se, but he's a scientist. He's a professor. He talks about a wide range of things, and one of the things he really talks a lot about is sleep. And his name is Dr. Andrew Huberman, and his podcast is called the Huberman Lab. He's a Stanford professor, unbelievably brilliant, but always brings great content, and sleep is one of the things that he talks about extensively, and the importance of sleep. So that is your Wellness Wednesday tip number 3. Make sure you fix your sleep and the benefits of sleep.
Brought to you by Ben Gibbs.
Brought to you by, of course, our friends at Sleep Number.
Absolutely.
Why else would we want to talk about sleep except for Sleep Number? And yes, of course, it's convenient that they're our sponsor, but we would promote this anyway because every single thing that we just talked about, Sleep Number is dedicating literally their entire product line to these things. How can they help you get better with these 6 things?
Yes. Right.
Our technology, our mattress, everything we do is geared around helping you sleep better. And that's why we decided to partner with Sleep Number. They're an awesome partner, so we appreciate them. Go get yourself either sleepnumber.com or a local store, wherever you are. Go visit Sleep Number, your local store, and get involved there. So, Tyler, what are we really talking about today?
I had a quick question. So these are Wellness Wednesdays, right?
I know where you're going with this. These are still going to release on Wednesday. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You're still going to get your Wellness Wednesday.
All right.
But
Just making sure.
Yeah. Even though we're going on the new schedule on Thursdays.
All right. Cool. So that clip is going to be Wednesday, and then we're doing episode Thursday? Or is this going Thursday, and then we're just...
We'll figure it out offline. How about that? I've already thought this through.
All in the details. All in the details
It's just a branding moment, guys.
Yeah,
You're going to be well all the time.
You guys are going to peek behind the curtain live.
All right. So thank you, Ben. Honestly, that's great stuff. There's reasons as to why, and I love that. Like, we're giving the why get sleep, and then we'll give you guys some great things next week. So today, one of the hot topics, and we're in the commercial real estate industry.
Yeah, believe it or not, we're not professional podcasters.
Yeah, craziness.
This isn't our full-time job.
What we're talking about here today has not hit the podcast world yet, or at least us. But one of the things that we're seeing a lot of issues on the supply chain side. So we work with a lot of industrial clients that are distribution facilities, retailers,
e-commerce,
3PLs, third-party logistics. Right. So we see a lot of these issues, and which is then translating to slower delivery times. If you're Amazon, usually you're used to it being there in one day. Now it's 3 days. As we get into this holiday mess, we've got, hey, you better order all your gifts 6 weeks out because there's going to be this rush. Everybody's heard about all the boats out in Long Beach just sitting there, 68 boats now sitting out there, which has doubled in the last month.
Hold on. Don't skate over that. If you don't know what that means, there are literally 68 ships sitting in the harbor waiting to be unloaded at the port in California. Yeah. Why does that matter to you? Because your stuff is on those boats.
Yes. Right.
And it's sitting there for 9-10 days at a time right now with your stuff.
Yeah. You wonder why your chandelier that your contractor has said is going to be put up in your house is 6, 8, 10 weeks behind.
It's sitting in a boat.
Sitting on a boat.
You wonder why that couch, the numbers are increasing on the price of that couch?
Yeah.
It's sitting.
So that's that. We talked about that, and those are some things that we're seeing. One of the other major problems that we're seeing, or not major problems necessarily, but concerns and questions, here in Texas, we've always felt like we're kind of sheltered, right? We've got a safeguard around it. We see the East and West Coast being impacted a lot more. I mean, even during the recession in 2008, one of the things that they talked about is Houston and Dallas. It was like, okay, hey, we didn't necessarily feel it the same that the East and West Coast did in Dallas. We were protected economically as much as could be. I'm not saying nobody felt it, but it was less severe. But one of the things that has been on a growing trend and has been a conversation that has been growing is the idea and the actual impact of inflation on our economy. Yep. One of the impacts, again, we talked about the freight, the shipping, the supply issues that we've got. That's one of the factors contributing. But we want to spend a little bit of time today just kind of talking about it, sharing some actual stats, and then some things that we can do as individuals to safeguard ourselves as much as possible as we're looking at these inflation rates actually climb. And as we're getting, we're seeing it in real estate. We're seeing it in if you're trying to buy a used car. I'm going to walk through a quick list of the largest industries that are seeing inflation and how much they're actually seeing compared to the national average. So we're looking at this. So these numbers are contributors to the overall actual inflation, right? So we talk about it's typically a 3% annual inflation, right? That's kind of what we see over the long history is a trend. Now we're seeing industries that are 10, 12, 18, 20% actual inflation to those. But overall as a market altogether, we're not as far ahead as we actually think that we are. It's not hey, as a country, inflation has hit our country altogether by 15%. We're not there yet. But there are some industries that are bad. The used car industry is actually leading from an inflation standpoint.
I didn't know that.
Not new cars, used cars. Inflation. I mean, this right here contributes over 0.5% of the overall inflation to the country. So of the, I think we're at like 4.5, making up a number right now, but we're less than 8% inflation as a country. And this is 0.5 of that. That's a big number. Medical services, massive inflation there. Financial services, just overall hourly wage. There's a lot of factors that we'll talk about that contribute to it, but financial services sector has seen inflation. Housing, surprisingly, is below the 2000 to 2019 average inflation. We think that, hey, it's insane. We think in Dallas, right? In Dallas, you used to be able to buy a home for $150 a square foot.
Right.
See all over. That number is through the roof right now. 200 plus per square foot on an average across DFW Metroplex. That's a big number. That's a really big number. Clothing has gone up when over the 2000 to 2019 average, it was down. Home furnishings are up. Food services are up. Transportation is up. Recreational goods and vehicles. So that's like ATVs, dirt bikes, stuff like that. That's an industry that has seen massive inflation. I actually just bought one this spring, and it was like finding a needle in a haystack. I literally was calling dealers, 10 dealers a day. What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? And it's like zero negotiation. It was, hey, pay this, but I've got 4 dudes already in line trying to buy it behind you. So that's an interesting one. New cars are there, but not nearly as high as used cars. And then hotels, surprisingly. Through the pandemic, that one surprised me. Hotel is another industry that is one of the major contributing factors to the overall inflation in the United States this year. It was interesting, right? But they've got to make up. They've got to make up.
That's the hospitality industry is hammered during.
The other thing you mentioned is gas prices. We're at a national average of $3.22 a gallon, which is the highest since 2014. There's a town in California, I forget the name of the town, but they're literally paying $8 a gallon for gas right now.
San Francisco or LA?
$8 a gallon. Well, it's a smaller town, but yeah, I mean, California is up over $4 or $5 a gallon. Yeah. So gas, Tyler, you mentioned it, but restaurants are up 4% this year, and then groceries up 3%. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but going to the grocery store, our grocery bills are higher now than they were last year at this time. And then going to eat out. Other things that we worry about, natural gas is up 150%. Which affects food, chemicals, plastic goods, and heating prices. They say heating prices this winter are going to be astronomical because of this.
We're on propane, so I see literally.
You're seeing it.
It's insane.
Yeah,
we get monthly notices from our propane company that there's going to be price increases.
Procter & Gamble, who are the makers of Tide detergent and Charmin toilet paper, recently came out and said they're about to embark on another round of price increases. So these are everyday household items are about to go up even more. The shipping concern we were talking about earlier, in Q1 of 2020, it cost the company approximately $1,600 to ship by sea, by way of sea. So shipping products from China over here, $1,600. That price,
and that's for a container, right?
For a container,
not the cost of the goods inside the container. The actual container to get it from where it was manufactured to the United States.
$1,600 per unit in Q1 of 2020. So basically, before all the shit hit the fan. September 2021, that price has increased up over $10,000.
All right.
So $1,600 a year ago,
100% increase
to $10,000 now, which is why we're seeing all these increases in your, couches and clothes and things like that. So, and then wage inflation.
Yeah. So this is big. This is really
this
big.
is huge because of unemployment, things like that. Companies are now having to, and other factors, but companies are having to say, hey, we'll pay you $20 an hour. Just come to work. Please come to work. We gotta have people come work for us. So wages are inflated now because they're trying to attract workers who are collecting unemployment, things like that. So it's safe to say after all those stats, I mean, every cost is up right now. Just about every single cost that you've been accustomed to paying is more expensive right now. And didn't want to spend this whole time. Look, we certainly don't want to turn this into a bitch fest where all we're doing is complaining about this problem, right? Everybody knows it's a problem. But I do think it's important because, in fact, we talked to a guy this morning in our office who specialized on the other side of the business. He didn't really know much about the ship issue and the inflation issues with the ports and things like that. So did want to spend a second on how we got here. What's causing all of this? Because somebody, not everybody may be aware of how we got here. But then really we want to spend some time, most of the time, talking about what can we do about it.
Yeah, and I think, though, how we got here is important because everybody's kind of in panic mode. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to live anymore. Prices are going up so fast. We're seeing all these things. I think the goal of this, without going to the end and giving, the consensus after this portion of the discussion, is we want to give perspective as these are not permanent issues. These are things that are, hopefully, that's a good point. But these are all things that are correctable. I'm not saying they are going to be, but they are correctable. So as we walk through these, this is not about the world is
fear. They call it fear mongering.
Yeah. This is about, okay, hey, look, we're gonna walk through those things. So go ahead, Ben.
So if you think about back to 2020, right, when COVID shut everything down, obviously when things get shut down, production stops for a time there. Well, whenever we started to, ease up on these restraints and these mandates and separation, things like that, production gets to start again, but it doesn't have time to catch up. Consumers are still wanting to buy, right? So simple economics, right? Demand and supply and demand, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a lot of supply of something, it's probably not going to cost very much. If you have a lack of supply, it's going to cost a lot. And that's what we're facing right now because of COVID and all sorts of other issues like that. Oh, I thought you were about to jump in, Tyler.
Oh, no. You're doing good. Good work, man.
So, but there's a lot of factors, right? It's that started it.
Yeah.
And then you start having unemployment. And you start having stimulus checks, and you start having things to try to stimulate the economy. So you have all this money being poured in.
The money is being printed.
The money is being printed, right? The money's going in. However, when you get free money and you're not producing anything for that money, because it's just being handed to you, you're not producing a good to receive that money. That's when the prices go up as well.
Yeah, and I think when people couldn't work, companies started laying people off out of kind of just fear of the unknown, what it was going to look like, and then the government started sending stimulus checks. Starting with Trump,
rightfully so.
It was like, okay, the idea is, okay, we're going to stimulate the economy, and we're going to infuse some extra cash and capital for you to support your family. Now the challenge is you've got an excess amount of time, and you have more money than you're accustomed to. You're collecting unemployment and you're getting stimulus checks, okay? But you have excess amounts of time. So unfortunately, as a country, I don't think we're disciplined enough to say, okay, hey, this is great to have as a reserve. I'm not saying nobody did it, but we don't have a reserve. So what people are doing is now we're spending money because we have it, and we don't have anybody, like you said, producing it. So nobody can go in and work and manufacture it, whether it's lumber, right? That was the big topic is lumber was up 400%. And it was like this crazy deal, but people wanted to go spend money and move, but nobody was there at the mills actually creating more usable lumber.
And listen, we're seeing it. We're in the commercial real estate world, so we're seeing it. And most of our customers, whether it be on the industrial side or even in the office, it's highly competitive because people just don't want to work.
Yeah,
it's the obvious, right? People don't want to work, but there's so much money that's stimulated the economy, and there's so much money that's been poured in to the economy that people don't have to work.
Yeah,
and there's such a labor shortage right now that employers are fighting for that labor. It's the obvious right now, and it's all stimulated through the process of what we went through with COVID.
Yeah, and I think people, it was a luxury to be home and have some cash, and people liked that feeling and liked staying home, and then started to create habits, because it doesn't take long to create a bad habit, right? So people are home and I don't have to work, and my unemployment, man, I got 9 months. That seems like forever.
Yeah.
Like I could do whatever I want, however I want. I'm not saying this is everybody. That's not what I'm saying. But what had happened is a lot of blue collar jobs in manufacturing industry, which again, I've said this before on the show, that is a skill and a trade that we need more young adults to pay attention to, because we talked about labor wages and how much they're going up. Those, we call them unskilled, but let's just call them, manual labor, like the trades, different trades, right? Those are industries that are making a killing right now, because there's not enough people to do it, because people were home when there was an opportunity to get in and create a niche for yourself, they're at home collecting unemployment checks. So all these people are at home spending money, and employers are scrambling, overpaying now when you do go back to work. Yeah. Because, I mean, I've got a buddy who's got a company, and I'm not going to get into any more detail. He had to interview 40 people to get one person to show up.
Yeah. To get them to show up?
To show up to work. He would hire people, fill out the paperwork, hire people, and they wouldn't show up the next day, because then they took that, they turned it into Social Security, or they turned it into workers, and then would collect unemployment.
Yeah. And we saw that, in fact, where we work, we would see different restaurants we're trying to hire, and they would have a $250 interview bonus.
Yeah.
Just come in and interview, we'll give you $250. Yeah. Because these companies are sitting there saying, I can't compete with all these government checks because people are getting free money, not having to do a thing to get this money.
Right.
And I think that's just so, and I try not to be super judgmental because I don't know everybody's situation. I don't know where you are in life. I don't understand your personal situation. However, it is sad from the outside to sit there and think that we have that many people that are willing to just freeload.
Yeah. Right.
That are willing to take money, not produce any good out of that money, not produce anything to this economy, not think of the wide range team that we are as a country. And look, I get it. I'm as selfish as anybody. Trust me. But I do understand the importance of producing value to a society and being compensated for that value. So if you're just sitting at home and you're just collecting money, you're not providing value to anybody. And again, I get it. Maybe your personal situation, maybe you hated your job. You're like, I'd much rather sit at home than go back to a job that I hated. So I understand. But the problem is you're not contributing anything when you know
the problem is this as well. As employers are looking at this and they're having so much trouble as far as hiring employees, what do you think is really ramping up right now? Automation. Automation is ramping up to the next level. So employers are saying, well, I can't hire you, so I'm going to replace this by automating systems, which is a huge ramp up as far as e-commerce is concerned.
That's such a good point.
You think you're penalizing as far, I don't want to get political, but you think you're taxing the business owner and you're going to put him out of business, but the business owner is going to figure out ways to survive. And how is he going to survive? Okay, if person A, B, and C don't want to take this job, well, we'll get robots to figure this out.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where we're going.
That's such a good point, because the scary thing about this is truck drivers. We talked about the shipping at the ports. We have a lack of truck drivers right now. People to actually drive the truck of your stuff to your house. We have a shortage of that. Think about when that becomes automated.
Yes.
How many
when it's coming.
How many people are going to be out of a job then? Think about these warehouses where these massive, storage facilities that these companies use that right now employ 300, 400, 500 people. What about when those become 100% automated?
Yes.
What are those 500 people going to do? So we're heading this period of time where people are taking advantage of getting free money. Unfortunately, that is going to be the future.
That's right.
Yeah. A lot of people think that's where we're headed 10, 20 years from now anyway. A massive, complete, what's the word? An apocalypse of jobs because everything's becoming automated. Yeah. If I can set this machine up, I don't have to deal with the bull crap of this person, their personality, not showing up late. I can count on this robot to do this work.
Right. Yeah.
So if that's what's going to be, because people are seeing an opportunity right now for that exact thing.
Yeah. Accelerator right now.
We as human beings, we're great at solving problems. And if the problem is people not wanting to show up, well, I'm going to make a robot that is going to show up.
That's right. So you just look at employers like, I'm a business owner. I'm always trying to look at, and I guess I look at it as a business owner. I do want to employ people because I want to see the benefits. I want them to have the fruits of their labor. Like they come into work, I want to support. They have kids, I want to be there to support them for their kids. But at the same time, as a business owner, you have to look at the bottom line. And if the bottom line is not being met, you're going to figure out ways to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
That's the entrepreneur spirit.
Yeah.
You're going to find ways. And if it's a robot, if it's something I can do that can shortcut that ability to allow me to continue to make money, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. And what's the snowball effect of that, right? HR is a huge industry.
Yeah.
It's a huge industry. So now there's no more need for HR or a much condensed industry. I mean, it's It's this chain reaction that we don't realize by, hey, staying at home and creating questions in employers and those people that everybody wants to bag on, these million and billionaires that are making these decisions. But ultimately, if I can't rely on something, I'm going to find a solution.
Yes.
Okay, the ship is moving. All right. Hey, are you gonna work your ass off to get up into the captain's chamber, or are you just gonna, hey, I'm just gonna float on my free tube over here while the boat leaves me?
Y'all ever seen the movie Bee Movie? It's a cartoon movie. Like came out in like
early
early 2000s.
like a Bumblebee.
Yeah, Bumblebee. It's called Bee Movie.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry
right?
Seinfeld. And it's actually an interesting connection to the situation because the bees go on strike and they decide, hey, we don't want to, we're being oppressed. We don't want to work anymore for your honey. You're taking all our honey.
Bees.
So they end up striking and the entire town economy goes down because these bees go on strike. No flowers, no, all this stuff. The chain reaction of all those events. So just kind of like that right now. But I also think about Tyler, we talked about, and I just went blank. Sorry.
You just got done talking about bees.
And also too.
Yeah, I got so excited about sharing that. I forgot my main point.
Think about this is, and I mentioned the need for blue collar jobs even really like the retail sales. I mean, there's positions that just companies can't hire. Restaurants are going under. But the problem I have is you hear a lot of people complaining about, oh, they're this, and there's this separation of classes, and there's this. What's the reality right now? The reality is the companies that work from home, the professional services and technology companies, they're paying high wages for people to stay at home. So they are making a lot more money into the economy, buying products that are more expensive now because there's not the labor, there's not the costs, there's not the shipping. They're paying higher rates and they're happy to do so because they have more time at home and they're making more money because of this
escalation.
Chain reaction.
That's right.
And so that's the idea of inflation, as it's not one single event that causes it. Yeah, the pandemic is one of those things that a lot of people point back to, and it reduced the supply, and so But here's the deal: is, and this is a stat that we don't have, but it would be really interesting to see right now what the margins really are for some of these large, good manufacturers that are actually manufacturing goods and selling them at these inflated prices. What the margins actually are. Are they making more money? Because guess what, y'all? By us staying home, you're putting more money into the big man's pocket.
Right.
Which, look, hey, you figure it out, and guess what? We're paying it. And we're not questioning it. We're not doing anything to slow down the demand. And that's where we can control it.
Yeah. And that's what we talked about. We're spending a lot of time on labor, just rightly so. But we talked about the shipping prices being more expensive. So the company's not going to eat that cost for nothing.
They're going to put it somewhere.
Right? They're going to put it somewhere, which is to us consumers.
Absolutely.
That's why inflation is going, because these companies are feeling these price increases. They're not going to eat it. They're not going to take that loss. They're going to pass it on to us in little small increments. They're going to keep doing that until we fight back by not spending our money with them. So, but for now, inflation hasn't gone too crazy. So I'm still willing to buy Charmin toilet paper because I like Charmin toilet paper, even though they're increasing the prices. Now, eventually they're going to get to a point where maybe I'll just go freaking grab a leaf out of my backyard if it just gets too ridiculous. But for now, they're still passing on that cost to us. And that's why we're seeing this inflation, is because of things like that. The other thing we're talking about, taxes, is an interesting thing.
Stop. I'll get sensitive here. We're going to get sensitive.
You're talking about taxing the rich.
I don't want to go.
But what the problem is when you tax people with, the wealthier of our economy who are providing these jobs, again, that wealthy person is not going to eat that cost. What am I going to do? I'm going to fire a couple of people so that I don't have to change anything about my lifestyle. And now you end up with more unemployed people. So you think you're taxing the rich, but really you're screwing over us in the process. And so there's just all these dynamics. And again, we don't want to get political because I think this will be an issue no matter who's in office. Now there has been things exasperated by the current, administration. But the point is, this is an issue. This is on our minds right now. Things are getting more expensive. That's the reality.
Right.
And there's nothing we can do about it today for that particular problem. But I do think there are things that we can think about as we spend, as we go throughout our daily life, things we can do to help mitigate these higher increases. And that's what I want to spend some time on, some actual practical things that look, and look, we say this about all different sectors. We are not business. We're not, economic experts. We're not money. So don't take any of this.
Yeah, we're going to dumb this shit down, like way down.
Don't take any of this as gospel and think, hey, the Darren Woodson show told me to go and invest in this. This is not legal, whatever. Legally, we got to say that. So,
hey, so I want to start this one off by the last point. Like that's
you want to start with the last point?
Start with the last point.
Okay.
I think because how we led into it, I think that's the simplest way to put it. And we can talk through these other things, but you talk about what can we do to somewhat control it. All right. Number one, I think is don't be emotional about this. Don't lose focus. Don't lose your mind over this whole deal. If someone didn't leak somewhere on the internet that toilet paper was in a shortage during the pandemic, do you think that toilet paper prices would be at what they're at today?
Well, remember early on, whenever you literally had to go
That's
buy
what I'm saying.
8 rolls.
That's what I'm saying. So
if
you're the person that is going out and you're saying, I heard on Twitter that there's a shortage on toilet paper. So I'm going to go buy 37 40 packs.
Right.
And then we're going to be out. So guess what? Guess what that does to the overall market of toilet paper? The entire thing shoots through the roof. Remember there was a storm. It was Hurricane Harvey, hit Houston, shut things down. Someone put it out on Twitter in Dallas that there's a shortage on gas. You're not going to be able to get gas for weeks.
Yeah, the gas.
I waited for hours one day for gas.
Because I freaked out. Guess what? There was gas 36 hours later.
Yep.
But we ran almost completely out of supply of gas because there's this emotional reaction, worst case scenario, I've got to save everything, I've got to freak out. Okay, guess what? How about if you're that person, why don't you just slowly do some things to prepare yourself? Hey, I'm gonna throw a container in my attic, and I'm gonna have some excess toilet paper. I'm gonna have some excess water. I'm gonna do all these things. I'm not saying be like a doomsday prepper, but hey, instead of just freaking out and going and buying all this stuff, prepare yourself. Don't be the unprepared guy that goes and buys 40 packs.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing, and I'm guilty too. When you get squeezed, we talked about this in a very earlier episode early on. When you get squeezed, you really can tell a lot about people when they get squeezed. You can really tell a lot about people when shit hits the fan and stressful times. Yes. And that's what you're talking about, Tyler, is we get this survival mentality and we got to take care of me. So I'm going to go to the grocery store and make sure I get everything. Right. And we don't have this community mentality.
Yeah.
What's best for everybody? Maybe I only take one roll because that's all I need right now so that 3 other people can get a roll.
That's right.
Right. And look, I'm talking to myself. I get it. That's hard to do.
Oh, that's hard, dude. That's
but the emotions, this isn't, like I said, hopefully this isn't going to last forever. Right. It's going to be with us for a while. They're talking about 2022, even into 2023. So we're going to have to weather the storm for a while. Right. Yeah. But hopefully,
look, this is not
logically speaking, it doesn't last forever.
If you take on that Armageddon mentality, oh my God, this is it. The sky is falling. And that's the people you're talking about. I think what we're really talking about is just being aware.
Yeah.
Like just having an awareness to know that, if you're at the grocery store, you're seeing that the prices for the vegetables are going up, or you're seeing loose items, the prices are going up. Just be aware. Just understand that when you check out, you're seeing the fact of, okay, the prices are different, and it can be that simple. But not having this, let's run for the hills mentality.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to get emotional. That's just, that's a totally normal response, but try to take a step back, a 30,000 foot view, understand this happens not this exact situation, but things like this happen every 10 years. Yeah. Right. You can look back at history. Things like this happen. We'll recover from this at some point. Yeah. But for right now, we got to weather the storm. So that's a great way to start of just, hey, take a chill for just a second. Having said that, I think I read the other day, it's like 75% of people have less than 3 months of expenses saved. Mm-hmm. So think about people that are living paycheck to paycheck. Most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. If I look at my grocery bill and it's all of a sudden gone up 10% or 5% or whatever, my savings, my monthly nut has now gone up. Mm-hmm. So now what do I do? I'm not at my savings are being eaten by this inflation. And so for somebody like that, and a lot of us are in this scenario, I think one practical thing you can do is try to eat at home as much as possible. I know that's inconvenient. I know some people suck at cooking, but if you look at the overall spend, you're going to be win out every single time if you eat at home more than you do, because these restaurants are passing this cost on you too, right? It's not like you go to this restaurant and they're eating the cost.
Right.
You're going to pay for, whatever it is you're eating. You're going to pay the tip. You're going to pay the tax. It's just much more expensive. So learn to take that. If it is inconvenient to you, you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's one small practical thing you can do is start cooking at home more.
Yeah. Because here's the deal. Overall costs of a meal eating home are going to be lower. But here's the other benefit, and you and I talked about this, is what are the benefits of actually, as opposed to doing what's easy, doing something that provides a level of sustainability, right? Let's just say, here we go, Doomsday Prepper, we just said don't freak out. But let's just say things go bad and you've been eating out all the time. Remember the pandemic when all you did was eat out?
Yeah.
Then what'd you do?
You're going down quickly.
Really quickly, right? Then your panic goes even more because you just haven't gotten used to cooking at home, having meals. Hey, plant a little garden in your backyard. Have some vegetables. Do some things that hey, these are things that actually can help me in the long run, regardless of the situation. It's going to save me money. That's immediate benefit.
Yeah.
But then long term, I actually have some skills that are going to help me down the road.
Talk about hunters. Befriend a hunter.
Yeah. Or just be
Tyler,
one,
you
man.
said you got a bunch of
be one.
You said you got a bunch of meat given to you for free.
Yeah.
From a hunting buddy of yours. Tell everybody how much you spent on those 2 deals of tri-tip the other night.
Yeah. So a good buddy of mine, his freezer had an issue, and so he had to get rid of this big deep freezer, and he gave me, probably, 60 pounds of meat at least.
That's insane.
Elk, venison.
How much would 60 pounds of meat cost you if you went to the grocery store right now? Hundreds of dollars.
Okay, we're talking like just ribeyes right now, or is $13.99 a pound. So do the math.
Yeah.
At Costco, cheap. So to your point, is we were at Costco the other day, and California tri-tip is a cut of meat that we love cooking. It's great. If you haven't had it, try it. Do some research on the right way to cook it, Santa Maria style. But two tri-tips at a pound and less than 2 pounds. So typically I grew up, the right size tri-tip is north of 2 pounds. So it's comparable to a brisket if you're not familiar with it. It's on a cut back by the back hip of a cow, and it's shaped like a triangle. There's a fat cap on it. Anyways, so we love Costco. Don't get me wrong, we love Costco, but these things we spent dang near $90 on 2 tri-tips.
And how much were they? However long ago?
$25 a piece, so $50.
From $50 to $90.
$50 to $90 for a tri-tip.
Yeah.
For 2 tri-tips.
Yeah.
That fed my family one night, and then I had 3 lunches. So they're bigger pieces of meat.
Sure.
But you think about it, really and that's an affordable. Imagine if you're just to go steaks or New York's ribeyes, sirloins, whatever. Now that price per pound goes up. But my buddy who's a hunter, I've got back straps, I've got elk steaks, I've got round steaks, I've got ground beef, ground elk mixed with pork, I've got ground venison. I've got all this
last
meat.
You for
I don't think I could eat it in a year.
Yeah.
And again, that was from one animal. Mm-hmm. One animal.
Yeah.
But think about, again, like you said, befriend a hunter, because what happens if grocery stores close down for some reason in the future? Mm-hmm. And you've got to fend for yourself. If you don't know how to farm, if you don't know how to garden, if you don't know how to hunt, if you don't know how to, milk cows, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, meat eater, carnivore, whatever it is, you've got to learn those skills.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we're not trying to, portray this doomsday. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. But, the other advantage to eating at home is it's a healthier option. Yeah. Right? You don't know what they're putting into your food when you go out to eat. They're adding tons of butter, tons of oils, things like that. It's even that's another benefit to eating at home is it's health. Not only is it cheaper over the long term, but it's healthier.
Most of the time it is healthier.
Yeah,
right?
you can.
You've been behind the people at the grocery stores and you're like,
Well, that's true. That's true. I guess if you at least you have control over what goes into your food.
Yes.
If you do it at home.
Exactly.
The other thing that I wrote down that my family's going to be doing is reducing large spending for the time being. And what I mean by that is anything, unless it's essential, we're not buying it right now. We've got things we want to do to the house. We've got, we could use a newer car. Things like that are things that's out. Those are not life-changing things right now. No Porsche for me. No. So those things are going to be put on the back burner for the time being. Yeah. Well, can you let me borrow yours?
Wow.
But we're going to be mindful of how, our large spending. That's what we're going to be mindful here.
Well, and I think the pandemic showed us this emotional spending, right? Like, I feel like I've got to fill a void. Like, I need a newer car. I need I need this toy, or I got to redo these cabinets, or I've got to do this. Like, things that really don't contribute. And I have this conversation with my wife quite a bit because we're going through something.
You're about to put in a pool.
Completely opposite of what. But really, like, is in this.
He's really worried about this, guys.
I know, y'all. Shh. It's not about me, guys. It's about everybody we're talking about. Totally discredited. I'm just going to shut up for the rest of the episode because totally discredited me.
No, I want to hear this. This is good.
But I do have this conversation. And by the way, the pool was supposed to be this summer, and I said no.
There you look at you.
I said,
restraint.
Hey, Miss Wife Lady, hey, we are not doing a pool right now because that is not responsible.
Because it went up, the pricing went up.
It did.
Let's cement.
It did.
So is it fair to say I'm the only common folk on this podcast at this point? Do I speak for the people?
Why do you think I've been very quiet over here?
Oh man!
But doesn't make it not true. Is the idea is we were driven out of this emotional gap that we felt during the pandemic, and a lot of people replaced it with things. And this goes across the board, is when you're trying to find happiness in shopping for clothes or new trucks or new cars or this project or this vacation or this or whatever, ultimately that makes very little impact on your life and your family. So if you are spending money, if you are making, this big spending, make sure that it's impactful. Make sure that it really contributes. And I say, you guys laugh about a pool. Guess what? There's been more family time at our pool that we had at our last house. We spent more time as a family outside than anything else.
Right.
We spent less on babysitters when we had a pool because just go outside, guys.
Just throw their ass in the
money
pool.
back. Make your money back.
That's what I'm saying. There's some ROI on that.
Yes, there is.
But make sure, look, if you are going to spend, if you are going to make an investment in something, just make sure it's impactful because there's too much emotional spending going on right now, and make sure that you're conscious about it. If you're like, oh man, we could get a new car right now, and you're all excited about it. You know that like high when you're like, hey, I'm looking on Auto Trader, seeing if I can find like a new car. Let it go. Let it pass. Make sure that that's actually a responsible decision to do because these big spending, these big purchases, they really can't come back to bite you. Yeah. But guess what? If we're buying them now in this time of inflation, it's just going to contribute to those prices creeping up. My father's in used car sales right now, right? So he works for a dealership. He works for a dealership in North Texas, and he's like, I've been in this industry for 30 years. And I've never seen anything like this. Like, we get a truck in, it won't stay on the lot for 24 hours. That thing is gone. People don't even ask.
Yeah.
And so it just, again, as we are spending, all we're doing is reinforcing the big man that he can keep charging whatever he wants to charge.
And it's, it's so easy. And I don't know if you guys spoke on this earlier, but as I walked out, but but I don't know if you talked about like subscription models. Like
we talked about it. Thanks, we're good.
Yeah. No, we're good. Next, that's where we're going next.
Yeah, that's good.
But subscription models, even and I know we're going to go down that path, but on Amazon, we have these apps and we can just swipe right and just get Amazon. I mean, those are the little things that add up.
You know what about it? You know what that makes Amazon so brilliant is the convenience and the automation of it.
Absolutely.
You don't ever see money. Tyler, we talked about this the other day. You don't physically see money transfer hands anymore. So there's not that momentary split second of should I do this or not.
Or even that is that
because everything's so automatic.
You get an Amazon account. What do they make you put all your payment information in on the front end? So it's a swipe or it's, yep, confirm my shipping.
Well, they have that buy now button. And you say buy now, it's it.
It's it. It's
to your
done.
door.
And think about, I personally, I'll get on like Instagram and I'll see like a t-shirt, you know, like, oh, the most comfy t-shirt on the market. And I'll literally like get in and I'll get on the website, I'll shop and I'll pick it, I'll put it in the cart. And then I go to put in my credit card and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But
Amazon
they made it
sticks that
so
model.
convenient and easy to pay that we just don't even think about it and it's gone.
Darren, how many hours of TV would you say you watch a week
Not
on
much.
average?
Man, the game on Sunday.
Yeah, during the week, probably nothing, right?
During the week, maybe.
TV maybe doesn't come on at all?
Yeah, we'll watch a Netflix show maybe once a week.
My point in asking that, how much money do you think you spend on subscriptions?
Or just TV
Or
packages.
just
That's
TV
what I mean.
pack. I mean,
TV packages.
You know, one of the hardest things for me to do was 2 years ago is I cut the cord and got rid of DirecTV. And it was so hard to go through that process of all the channels
we keep
that
it
they
for
have.
16 weeks. That's the only reason I keep it.
Exactly. The
only reason.
That NFL package or whatnot. Yeah, but you know, you have all these subscriptions, but now it's, you know, I got rid of the package and it was like, you know, we didn't have the show, we didn't have Showtime or HBO and all these packages for the longest time. And I didn't even notice it. I honestly didn't notice, you know, the fact that I was paying all these subscriptions and all that. But once you actually take a look at it, if you actually take a look at all the subscriptions that you have out there, it will blow your mind. I'm paying for, I can't even say the name for it right now. It's a little workout place that I go to, and it's a certain color.
You're still paying for that?
It's a certain color. Orange.
Oh, got
So
it.
the wife, yes, the wife got me into
Get the elliptical in.
Yes, got me in. And I've been paying this for, I've been there twice in 4 months.
Yeah.
Twice in 4 months.
Oh,
Just throwing money in the trash.
gyms,
and I just cut it.
especially the big
Just cut
box
it off.
gyms, mastered this.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes,
They
mastered it.
count on you not showing up.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant plan.
It is.
But that's the point, is how many of those things are we subscribed to or signed up for that we rarely ever single
You get
use?
zero value out of it.
We cut cable a few years ago too, thinking, oh, we're going to save all this money. But now we've filled it with Netflix. We filled it with YouTube TV. We filled it with Disney Plus. We filled it with Hulu.
Yeah.
You end up, and
but
I'm the
now
same
these-
as you, Darren. During the week, we don't watch
TV.
barely turn on the TV
Right.
during the week.
You know what'll make you sick? I'm embarrassed to admit this. So literally about a year ago, this was like pandemic when we're like, okay, guys, we got to like assess what we're paying here. I realized not only was I paying for HBO on DirecTV, but I was also paying for the HBO app separately. So I literally was paying
both.
twice for HBO. And I didn't even realize it
Right.
because, again, I'd gotten it before we added the package back. And I literally, for like a year and a half, I was paying for both of them.
Yeah.
And it again, automated. I don't like notice a $4.99 charge,
Right.
or like this $5.99 deal. Like Netflix is one. And look, I love Netflix, and there's a lot, and I know that like they're adding more value. They're making movies. There's all these things that they're doing. But like when I started Netflix, it was $5.99 a month.
yeah.
You know what I looked at it today? You know what it is? $19.48 a month.
Jeez. Yeah. Inflation's hitting them too.
And so it's one of those things. If we looked at all of the subscription things that we have, all of the that we don't use, again, I don't want to put businesses out, and I don't want people not to succeed. But like, one, personally, we would recognize a huge savings. But then two is, okay, then all this inflation, like, oh yeah, you just took my $4.99 membership to $6.99 for no reason at all.
Yeah, and it's become so convenient just to keep it. I don't want to go through the stress of canceling. You know?
Yeah.
and it's not these individual. It's the accumulation and the collective. It's just like weight loss, right? It's not that one salad that makes me lose weight. It's the accumulation of these good choices. Same thing with the spending. So yeah, maybe your $6.99 subscription, whatever, is not that much, but that on top of everything else, maybe your daily coffee is not that much. But add that to everything else, and all of a sudden you're spending hundreds of dollars a month that are just unnecessary. Yeah. And again, fat cat, right? You don't think about these things when times are good. But as things are more expensive, we're starting to be mindful of this stuff. These are the things that you can address now before it gets to that. Because unfortunately, and again, I'm just a moron on a microphone. I don't know anything. But my hunch is this is just going to get worse before it gets better. Yeah. And I don't say that to cause fear. I say that to cause caution.
Yeah.
So be mindful of this thing. These are and at the end of the day, the bottom line, do whatever the hell you want. If you want to keep spending money on subscription, keep doing all that.
Yeah.
I just know for me personally, these are things that I'm going to implement. My family has started to implement to help mitigate from some of the hurt because we're feeling it, right? We're not immune to this.
Yeah.
These are things that are a concern of ours as we go forward.
Yeah.
That we want to help mitigate against these inflation.
And I agree with you as we wrap this up is, look, don't think of all this inflation as the world is falling down, it's crumbling. I mean, this is the end. This is the end. Look, there's always a correction. You mentioned it. Every 10 years, there's some sort of a correction. Some are bigger, right? We're talking about the Depression. We're talking about 2008. We're talking about the late 80s. There's all these events that are major events, but there's always some sort of correction. This is something. Now, how quickly we come out of it as an economy and as a country, that is dependent on who drives the supply, the consumers. So as a consumer, we all individually form a collective need. And what are we going to do? What's the decision? How quickly are we going to come out of this? And how bad do we want to make this?
All right.
But don't be scared. Don't be this doomsday thought thinking individual, because look, there will be an end. There will be a solution. And whatever that looks like, I don't know. How long it's going to take, I don't know. But there will be a solution to this.
Yeah. And again, you're right. So when you have that mentality, you have the doomsday mentality, you stop thinking and you start, trying to hold on to things instead of when there's a correction, there's always opportunity.
What did it look like when you got
opportunity
fired from your paper job in the Depression in the late 20s?
There was an opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. So you came out of it okay, right?
Yeah, came out all right. Got on that bike.
All joking aside, pull on that thread a little further.
Go, man.
Because that is such a good point about opportunity.
Chaos, when there's chaos and when there's always a financial downturn, you always see those who start to think outside of the chaos.
Cool heads.
And they slow down. The sky is not always falling, and they figure out ways to pounce on some opportunities. And that's an entrepreneurial spirit. If you're okay with just being that person that says, hey, I'm going to penny pinch and I'm just going to make sure that everything is just right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with it. Be aware of your circumstances, of your financial circumstances. You should be aware of that all the time. But also understand, if you can have a clear head and start to think, okay, these situations are happening, there's an opportunity here for me to capitalize on. And that's the greatness of this country. That's the capitalist mentality.
We're not dictated by anything. We're not set into stone about anything.
Always have.
You have the freedom to go chase an opportunity, and that's such a great point. Because again, the tendency is to look at only the downsides.
Yeah.
But you're really good about this, Darren.
But
You flip the script and you think, no, what good can come out of this?
Yeah.
What opportunities can come out? So what opportunities do you see right now?
Well, I think it's obvious the automation side of things right now is there's an opportunity there. There really is, and there's going to be a lot more. And I'm just speaking from a standpoint of what I'm seeing in the industry that I'm in. Automation for sure. On the technology side, we'll start to see other things start to creep in. This world is, for every day something is changing on the technology side, and it's just by leaps and bounds. It used to be, every 10, 15 years you'll see an upgrade. Now it's every month. You're seeing the jumps in software and the jumps in technology, and it's because there's more people out there that have that mindset of, I'm going to go fast.
You know what else is an opportunity?
What's that?
If there's somebody out here listening that's smarter than me, I'm about to give you literally $1 billion.
Oh, no. Before you do that, then you better share it. Turn the mics off and share it with us. You're trying to give away free information.
Either.
Yeah.
But think about our two biggest freight carriers and shipping companies right now. FedEx and UPS.
Yes, yeah.
If a third
there's
true
one
contender.
There's one out there coming.
There's one up and coming. We won't say who they are yet.
Yeah.
But if a fourth true contender, if somebody listening to this can figure out a way to alleviate the shipping crisis, that's literally a billions of dollar idea and an opportunity right there. So to your point, Darren, bad times do come every 10 years, whatever, but think about how many amazing companies and ideas and problems are solved, because we're great as human beings. We're great at solving problems.
Right.
Just give us some time. So think about how many problems can be solved by the right people if we come together and we do this thing right. Tyler, any closing thoughts? Encouragement?
I just, with these times, with the things that we've learned about ourselves, about our country through the last year and a half, let's just not forget that most importantly, just love your neighbor and make decisions that revolve around that. What's going to help the community? What's going to help lift the community up? Let's just be weary and aware of selfless thinking, because selfless thinking, I think, leads to more inflation.
Selfish thinking.
Selfish thinking. Yes, thank you for correcting that. Selfish thinking leads to more supply issues. Selfish thinking leads to more inflation and just leads to more problems. And I just think, look at this as a perspective. Do I need this? Do I have to have this? Or can someone else benefit from it if I don't?
Darren, any closing thoughts?
Just be aware, man. Just be aware of your circumstances. Take care of your family. Understand, again, we've gone through this right now, and we're not financial analysts or whatnot.
No. But we're human beings that spend money.
Just tune in to what your spending habits are. Tune in to understanding, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then capitalize on them. I mean, look, again, I'm not a guy that looks at, every so many years we go through these cycles. And, for those that are a little older, I think we're sort of accustomed to understanding when good things are good, you stack it. You figure out a way to stack it. Just knowing these days are going to come.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to say. I'm going to double down on the take a step back and take a macro view of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is my first real economic trouble that I've faced since I've been aware. 2008, I was still in college. Honestly, I don't remember, because I lived off $25 in my account at all times anyway. So it didn't matter to me that we were in a horrible economic time. I didn't even notice, to be honest with you. I was still in college. Maybe that's dumb me. But to me, remember the good times. When times become great again, stack it, to your point, Darren. Don't think it's always going to be this way. Right. Something's going to happen. But then also, during the downturn, think about the opportunity.
That's right.
Encourage yourself to think about growth and improving yourself, right? Yes, maybe we can't change inflation today, but what can I personally do to improve my personal situation with my family, myself, those around me?
That's right.
Give us a follow on Instagram at Darren Woodson Show. We're also on YouTube at The Darren Woodson Show. The best way that this show can grow is by you guys sharing it. So if you got any value today, if you learned anything, if we made you laugh, if you thought it was, maybe you thought it was stupid, but hopefully if you liked it, please, please, please share this. That's the best way for this show to grow, and that would really help us out. So we appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great rest of the week. Remember, again, next week, new schedule. Mondays will be our interview episodes. Thursday will be our roundtables. We'll see you then.